listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
Oscar season, or I guess. Wait a second. Is this the official end of award season? Is the Oscars, right? Like we go through every other minutia of award, and then we cap it all off. The cherry on top are the Academy Awards, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
And I hope they start announcing it with your beautiful, song and dance jazz hands intro. That was short, sweet, and so beautiful.
Unlike most Oscar telecasts.
Right? I mean, I could hold that note for 3.5 hours if you'd like, but
you should record that and just because it might become the happy birthday song, and everybody will start singing it before the Oscars.
I mean, I'm gonna shake you to your core right now, AG. You did just record it. And you have it
true.
now.
I can turn it.
We're
into
never going to have to work again, folks. We're done. See you in Greece.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, it's a little. I mean, I always get excited. It's like something that's in my DNA, but I would say that they haven't done a lot to kind of keep my interest in the telecast. I mean, when I heard Jimmy Kimmel was hosting again, I was like, huh. I mean, what do we do with that? Didn't it used to be a big deal who was going to host? And we would get all excited, even if it was bad, like David Letterman when he did it and things. But there was, and Seth MacFarlane, which was a huge, I mean, we can go through the bad ones, the James Franco and Anne Hathaway. I mean, there have been some bombs.
Yes. Rob Lowe and Snow White.
Rob Lowe and Snow
Maybe we've actually just listed why it's no longer a good gig.
Okay, right, yeah.
Although, the Academy Awards seems to struggle, but I was noticing that, Trevor Noah did such a great job with the Grammys this year.
Yeah.
The Grammys seems to be doing okay.
The Grammys suddenly is, revitalized.
And Adie Bryant was really good at the Independent Spirit Awards.
Oh my gosh, she was so good. We won't talk about the Golden Globes because that was one of the biggest bombs of all history. But, it's always fun to watch someone bombing. I'm sorry, it just is.
Do you think that there is, just because the Oscars are, sort of such a vaunted old goat sort of institution, they're just, really resisting going contemporary? And the Grammys had, some pretty significant scandals the last several years. They've been called out for many things that are awful, and they kind of had no choice but to attempt to reinvent themselves to sort of become relevant again. How did the Oscars somehow refuse to take the notes of the last several years?
I mean, they are bringing back something that was really popular about 5-10 years ago. Apparently, don't hold me to this, I read this, it could be wrong, but they're bringing back the idea of former best actors and actresses introducing the nominees for this year. So they having the panel of 5 former winners on stage introducing each one a different nominee. Apparently that's going to happen. So that was something that people really liked. I mean, that was what made it gay Christmas for me. It was being able to see Halle Berry and Meryl Streep on the same stage next to each other. Oh my God, that's so cool. So maybe that's something we can look forward to again this year, is having extra glitter, because that's the whole point of the Oscars, isn't it?
They really need to lean into that legacy that, this kind of, we're about, not just about stars, we're about craft and tradition and things like that.
Yeah, they should royal family it up, really, and just coast on that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's really what I tune in. And everybody interact with the Oscars at your own pace and the way you want to. For me, it's the red carpet. I don't care about the actual movies winning so much as I do about all the stars in the same room looking really good and all the work that went into that and the artifice. I love artifice. It's one of my favorite things. So That's what the Oscars is for me. And then I love afterwards when you have pictures of like Hilary Swank eating an In-N-Out burger with her Oscar on the table next to her. And she's wearing a $6,000 pair of shoes. And I'm like, yes, this is fun. That's what I like about the Oscars, is the pure artifice of it.
Another great one was watching the SAG Awards on Netflix. It was fantastic. They had a full hour red carpet with Tan France, and he was hilarious and pointed out that he was only here because this is his network. Otherwise, he wouldn't care. And I thought, well, okay, cards on the table, appreciated.
Fair.
Fair, but the interviews were long, and they didn't have to cut any of the speeches because it was Netflix. So that was quite incredible. And they could swear all they wanted because it was Netflix.
And I think you can watch it still.
Yeah, right now. And it's not edited. Which is quite fun as well. So there were like lots of, we all like to watch the embarrassing throws people have to make on the red carpet to the hosts back and forth. And I had a great time watching it. And I recommend that in the future, I could see more award shows going to Netflix.
I could see the editing lobby, though, being against that, because isn't editing the Oscars a shoo-in winner for the Shmemmys later in the next year? The technical
Basically.
Emmys? Like whoever edited the Oscars wins, or the Grammys. It's usually up between the Grammys, the Oscars, and some variety show that nobody watched, like Grease Live or whatever it was that year. But that's what it usually comes down to at the Emmys. But we can't talk about the Emmys. They're small fry, right? It's Oscar.
Maybe the Super Bowl halftime show will win this year because Alicia Keys hit a bad note at the beginning of her performance. And
I stood up and walked out of the room.
Yeah.
The internet scrubbed it, so they pulled
they
YouTube
did,
clips and stuff. They pulled it and they put in her voice modified so she hit the right note.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a whole like Bernstein Bears situation of like, did you hear the note? Did it actually happen? I think it's like they're in.
As an audio editor, I would 100% have done the same thing. Like, you put in your better take, and that's the whole point of editing, is like you're sliding in like the best.
But it wasn't a better take. It was like Stephen said, they modified her voice. They fixed it.
They
fixed
it's almost
it
like
in
a
We
post.
had the tools.
It's like Stalinist. Like she was the bad note was taken out of the picture.
That's exactly what it is.
And to this day, Alicia Keys is never going to have to reckon with the fact that she still thinks she's a soprano, and she's obviously not anymore. You get older, your voice changes. Take it down a third. Thanks, Alicia. That's my outreach.
There will be a Keys commission.
Wow.
The Keys commission will have you as one of the witnesses.
Thank you. Isn't it ironic? It's in her name. Yeah, the only key she can hit is in her name.
Right? Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, sometimes the rehearsals are recorded or they record like the backing tracks in a studio. So like you have different takes of different notes of the song that you can slide in.
I mean, it was surprising because I thought that the
saying.
halftime show was all pre-recorded. In the past, I think it
Yeah.
had. So it was, hey, at least she tried to sing live. Thumbs up, Alicia. Just take it down a third. Hit the note. You'll be fine. It's a great song.
I love where we've gone. I love where we're going. Let's do just a little identification of ourselves. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And I'm Stephen Schelling.
Welcome, Stephen!
Yay!
Welcome back, Stephen. You're listening to Pop This, and just what a beautiful foursome to talk about the Oscars. So happy you're with us, Stephen. I'm gonna just take it upon myself to read your bio because honestly, I love doing it. It's so fun. Stephen Schelling, a professional gadabout by trade. Stephen is a writer, editor, fashion stylist, and a lover of period movies. Stephen is able to recreate Katharine Hepburn's entire Oscar-winning performance in the 1968 historical drama The Lion in Winter, and enjoys doing so whether or not anyone has asked him to.
That is correct.
You're a real fun party trick. Stephen is also set to host the VIF Oscar party coming up on Sunday, March 10th.
That is correct. I'm co-hosting, though. I've got two fabulous co-hosts, but I'm more the red carpet side of things. So I'm the early part. I get to leave and sit and watch the rest of the telecast while my co-hosts
I thought you were literally announcing right now that you're just piecing out. Like, you're just not even going to stay for the Oscar. Like, wow.
Hand over the mic
Bold
and walk out the
statement.
door. Yeah.
Literal mic drop into your co-host's hands.
Here you go. I'm
Like,
out.
Sorry. Red carpet only.
I gotta go get me an In-N-Out burger. Yeah.
So, Stephen, do you have your outfit decided
No,
yet?
I'm still figuring that out. And how many changes I'm gonna do, and we're still figuring all of these last minute details out. What kind of budgets I'm working with. So we'll see. We'll see. In the past, though, I have gone in full Regency dress. I've gone in tuxes. I've done crazy things over the years. So when the year of the favorite, I came out dressed as a 17th century British courtier and wore the wig and white makeup the whole way through.
So
which was a
Poor
tough
Things,
one.
you're going to do a really beautiful structured puff sleeve, right?
I'm considering many things. Obviously, Barbie is coming into the conversation very loudly.
Of course.
Am I going fur coat Ken? I don't have the abs for that, but I might have the fur coat. Or am I going to do like a pink tuxedo? Or am I just going to do a ball gown? Who knows? We'll all find out together.
Oh, beautiful. Lisa, would you like to read our little background there?
The 96th Academy Awards is scheduled to take place at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California on March the 10th, 2024. Comedian Jimmy Kimmel is scheduled to host the show for the fourth time, following the 2017, 2018, and 2023 ceremonies. The nominations were announced on January 23rd, 2024. Oppenheimer led with 13 nominations, followed by Poor Things and Killers of the Flower Moon with 11 and 10, respectively.
I kind of feel bad, but I haven't seen any of the top three contenders. I've seen some of the lesser ones or lesser contenders, like fewer nominations. But yeah. It's weird. I think when the Barbenheimer schism happened, I was strongly on the Barbie side, and I just never got around to Oppenheiming. And the Killer Moon.
Oppenheiming makes me really happy as a verb.
It's what we do now. And then when Flower Moon came out, I have a problem with Scorsese and just his movies. I don't know. I just don't. Right? And so
I also just don't. And honestly, I didn't, and I don't with Oppenheimer either. I know that I can't lend intelligent commentary about these films, so I turn it over to Lisa.
I've seen 9 of the 10 Best Picture nominees. I've seen 9 of the 10, so
That's pretty good.
wow.
That's
Who's your odd man
That's
out?
pretty good.
Zone of Interest.
That's going to be a tough watch. I'm going to see that, but I think I need to be in the right headspace to see that.
I know, same. That's why I haven't rushed off or anything.
Yeah, that's why I'm saving that for a day when I have extra mental capacity and emotional capacity, because I have a feeling that the rest of the day after that is done. Like, it's just going to be a go to bed, situation. Maybe have some candy and go to bed. Take care of myself afterwards.
So, AG and Lisa, you guys both saw Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, I haven't seen American Fiction or The Zone of Interest, but I have seen Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer. I was going to say, I feel like this is, like, you know how everything from, like, elections to, well, I guess it was sporting events, but, like, everything today, like, is so, like, it's all about statistics and, like, who's
the odds and everything.
Gaming and, and the odds and, like, who's going to win. I feel like this year, especially, I've noticed that, like, Variety and whatnot has projected winners of the Oscars. And I haven't, like, felt it so strongly, like, reading all these websites, like, before that, like, they have put this movie will probably win, is projected to win for these reasons. But so, yeah, like, most people seem to think Oppenheimer has the strongest chance of winning in the Best Picture category. And I feel like it's a movie that when it came out, it had a lot of Oscar buzz around it, and then it kind of died down. And now it's just really come back in the last, like, month or so. And I found that kind of interesting. And I just watched it, like, last week, because you can watch it streaming now. And yeah, I hear what you're saying about, like, both Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer. Like, I see what interesting and innovative things are happening in Oppenheimer. But Lisa, I don't know about you, but I found it was really long. The female characters in it were kind of
boring,
terribly written. I don't know how else to put it. Yeah, I had especially the mistress character in the movie I found just like
Florence Pugh.
Her character. I just didn't understand the characterization of her at all.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, and it just didn't seem like that compelling a story to be like such a long movie and to have, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars poured into these amazing effects to illustrate this quite boring story.
Well, it's here at the end of the day. You look at the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and you've got a choice. How am I going to tell this story? What am I going to focus on? The hundreds of thousands of people that died, or the one guy who invented? That's a choice, right? And I don't know if I'm.
Choices were made,
and I have to say, over a lifetime. Every once in a while, a historical figure comes up, and you're like, "Well, I wouldn't mind seeing a biopic about this person." Did I ever think that about Oppenheimer? No, I did not. It wasn't
that's what I meant. It's not a boring story. It's a boringly told story, because he's just like a guy in a lab with other guys
doing his job,
and that's a story. And then the sort of notable parts of the movie are like these effects, like envisioning the universe while you're watching side shots of these guys in a lab and Florence Pugh's character often nude.
Yeah, and so to me, the interesting thing is we all have heard, we know what Zone of Interest is about. And so, technically both of these movies are, World War II period pieces. And while, if you want to talk about the banality of war or of the banality of what sometimes goes on, I don't think you can have it both ways. And Oppenheimer seemed to want to have the banality of it and also the extreme. Like everyone seemed to be shouting all the time. And, so I don't know. It just, tone-wise, I felt like it didn't really know what it wanted to do.
Yeah, I felt like what it wanted to do was to use this special Dolby surround sound effects in the theater to make you feel sound.
Yeah.
Make you feel sound.
Yeah.
The audience is listening.
You know what? Yeah. I can see that as being like a Christopher Nolan, raison d'etre, he just, do you think every dude of that sort, and I'm being pretty generalist here, is constantly in their own head making their own version of 12 Angry Men? They're the most perfect movie in the world is 12 men screaming at each other. And that's what they keep giving us over and over and over again.
The other nominated picture is Maestro, which also, unfortunately, I saw.
Yeah.
So,
me too.
Boy,
I dislike that.
That was a slog.
That's probably the movie I dislike the most that I've seen on this
I think
list.
That's true. Yeah. Man, oh man, oh man. And if it hadn't been free on Netflix, by.
And I've thought about watching it for free on Netflix. And I think that Bradley Cooper's later career, the last 5-10 years of his career, he was a young star. He came out of nowhere. He did a couple of rom-coms. Then he became a more established actor. And I think when he's gone into his Kevin Costner auteur period, which is what we're in now, where he gets to sign off and produce his own movies. And we gave Kevin Costner too much power around Dances with Wolves and all of that stuff. Then we came up with The Postman and Waterworld, and it just got worse and worse and worse. I think we're seeing that with Bradley Cooper as well. The best of them is going to be the Gaga movie, and everything else is just going to be diminishing returns from now on. But Hollywood's going to give him money to keep making them.
But he'll keep getting money, and he'll keep getting prestige awards, nominations, and that is the most insulting thing possible. It's beyond vanity project. I need something more substantial to feel really angry.
Say what you will about Jack Nicholson as Hollywood royalty and, always playing the same character, but at least he stayed an actor. He knew what he was doing. He didn't ever go you know what, I'm going to direct. Like, pick a lane, people.
Honestly, I'm gonna like die forever thinking about Bradley Cooper as the Kevin Costner auteur
of our time. Yeah,
of our time. Like, and I guess we all get the auteur we deserve, and that's ours. Like, I'm so sorry, but like that is the most perfect comparison because I've been trying to like put my like foot on like what it is that is I find so deeply sort of like off-putting about Bradley Cooper's whole thing as a director specifically, and that's it. You're right. Like that is it.
Wow. There's that moment for all of them. I think all those guys, right? Where they've got to like, I gotta direct now. And you just want to like pinch yourself and go, do you? Like, is it really that necessary? Like,
you got a pretty good life going on.
Another way. Yeah. Like, I mean.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work and it's unnecessary. Yeah. Just, you know.
But, like, I don't know, Lisa, Maestro made me feel nothing when I saw it. Like, I didn't feel like emotional at any point about the story. It was just like this dramatic black and white, like,
in fact, what it did to me was
seriousness, trying to like make it seem like this had a lot of gravitas when I didn't feel anything when I watched it.
It just kept making me think, why am I not watching Tar again? Because Tar, like
wow, still talking about Tar.
I love Tar. And I'm thinking Leonard Bernstein makes a cameo in, so to speak, in Tar. And so, like, I would have rather watched Tar again. So that's what I kept thinking.
Do you have a metronome hidden somewhere in your house that you just let go and sort of a Poe-like click, 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 click type of situation?
If I could like have as regimented a life as Tar, I probably would have, like, I don't know what I would have done. But it would have been something, that's for sure.
Would have been better than most of these movies, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Another movie that I'm going to actually mention a movie that I did see. Obviously, we've done an episode of Past Lives. We know how much we all loved Past Lives. To me, it's one of the most perfect films of last year. But Stephen, you weren't on our episode of Past Lives. Do you want to like weigh in on how you feel about that, or did you see it?
I have not seen it. See, I've been a bad moviegoer. I find since COVID, I've been a lot less. So in my old life, like, my journalistic life that I still have, but, to the extent when, let's say, Andrea, you and I were working for a weekly together, I had to take the Oscars so much more seriously because there was a whole bunch of stuff around it and all this stuff. And now I find, as I said earlier, like I interact with the Oscars the way I want to. And again, it's the artifice part of it. And I really, I like the event. But the build-up to it, I used to try and see as many of the films as possible. And I think I just kind of gave up on that in the COVID times when I changed to sweatpants and was like, okay, it's okay, just enjoy it differently. And
I will say I agree with you that, like, I mean, and certainly since I stopped reviewing films, I see far fewer films.
Absolutely.
But potentially reviewing films might be what sucked a lot of the joy out of going to see films for me. Like I see, like I've only seen about maybe half this list or whatever. I'm looking at it quickly and maybe about half. And I feel bad because like Carlos always wants to go see movies and stuff and he really loves them. And so he's seen this entire list, but he does a lot of that on his own. Cause I'm just like, nah, sorry. Like if you want me to devote 2 hours plus to something, like I have to want it. I don't know. I've reached middle age, guys. And I'm just like, I can't give my time to things that
I think it's been a running theme.
Exactly.
I think it's been a running theme of Lisa's too. It's like movies are just too darn long now. And that's something else I noticed since COVID is that I'd much rather watch 12 one-hour episodes of I don't know what on Apple Plus than spend 3 hours watching Oppenheimer. I just don't have the mental ability to sit through, and especially because I'm doing it at home. At least in a movie theater, you've got nowhere to go. You're there to see the movie.
Yeah.
But I rarely go to movie theaters now. So, the movies I do see, I'll pick them for fun or for interest. And there are movies on here, like I went to see The Color Purple the day it came out because I wanted to see what they'd done with it. And I think it didn't deserve many nominations. I think that it deserved the nomination that it did get, for Best Supporting Actress.
Right.
It was Danielle Brooks, who took over the role, who played the role on Broadway, but also took over an iconic role by one of the most powerful women to ever come out of Hollywood, Oprah's first role. And really her only good acting role, because then Oprah went through the auteur stage where she thought she was an actress and a director and a producer. Yikes. Yeah. So I'm actually holding out for her in a category that is absolutely chock-block of talent. I'm hoping for Danielle Brooks, although it looks like Divine Joy Randolph is the front runner because she's won all the
and so
run-up
she
awards.
should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
She should be. That's an amazing performance. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we haven't talked about the holdovers. Although, just going back to Past Lives for a second, I am really upset that Greta Lee didn't get a nomination in the Best Actress category, and that Celine Song is not in the directing category.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yep.
However, it is also the film, now that I think of it, Past Lives is the film that I will probably watch between now and next week. It's like the one that I probably will set time aside for to watch. It's the most interesting of them, of the ones I haven't seen, to me at the moment.
It's also, honestly, I think it's one of the most beautifully acted, and I think it's one of the best scripts too. But it's against Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah.
And I do
Which
think
is also
that's
a very
like
strong film.
It's a very strong
and
script.
The Holdovers. It's up against The Holdovers too, right? So yikes.
But oh my God, I didn't realize Bradley Cooper co-wrote Maestro as well. Jeez.
He's a hyphenate. He's a multi-talented. He's an auteur.
Maestro is up for original screenplay, Lisa.
No,
What?
Okay, but is this a joke? Because I fall for pranks online all the time. I'm so gullible. But I read that it was, this might just be a joke because it's a good one, is that, that Bradley Cooper is sharing the honor of Best Original Screenplay nomination with Wikipedia. Which I'm like, 100%. That's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching it. Was wow, this feels like a Wikipedia entry. Maybe that was a joke, but
incredible.
So the entire Maestro film, it could have been an email, is what you're saying. The whole thing, it could have been an email.
Yeah.
I did go to the theater and see American Fiction recently, actually.
I did too.
And I really enjoyed it. I mean, I love every actor in the film, so I wasn't that surprised that I really enjoyed it. And I think that there has been some critical discourse from really great Black critics, Black pop culture critics, like Ijoma Oluo, had some things to say, and I suggest going and checking that out. But I think there's some very strong performances in the film, and the story of the actual family dynamics. I was not anticipating that I would cry multiple times during American Fiction, and yet there we were. I really loved the because the movie has a bunch of things going on, and in the one hand it's scathing satire of book publishing and the whiteness and the white supremacy problem of book publishing, and on the other part it's also this really compelling family drama, and there are comedic moments as well. But there are just some genius performances, and to see Erica Alexander on the big screen opposite Jeffrey Wright, and the two of them together is just it's wonderful.
Huh. Okay, I'm adding that to my list of must-sees too.
Yeah, you'd like it, Stephen.
It's been nominated in quite a few categories. Do you think it has a chance of winning any of them?
I mean, I think it's going to be one of those situations where they're going to have to have it was an honor just to be nominated, which sucks because I think it could definitely hold up in adapted screenplay, because I think it has more going on than I haven't seen Zone of Interest, so I can't speak to that, but I think and as much as I do sort of enjoy a lot of aspects of the Barbie screenplay, and I don't have as many good things to say about the Poor Things screenplay, and I can't say anything about Oppenheimer. I think it should be favored to win adapted screenplay, and I hope it does, because I think it deserves that. And I do think, like, best supporting actor, like Sterling K. Brown, he doesn't get a ton of time on screen, but he really makes the most of it. And I mean, it's hard to say like Ryan Gosling isn't really tremendous in Barbie, because like I think that is a pretty phenomenal character. But I really, really liked Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction.
But I think I need to give Barbie some extra props and not leave it on the side, because remember when it was announced that Greta Gerwig was going to be writing a movie about Barbie, and everybody was like,
yeah,
what's that going to be? And it could have been anything. And I think the fact that it was this open thing, but it had to be linked to this thing that, a puff of, commercialism or whatever you want to think the Barbie doll is, she had to link it to that and create a story. And I think that in a way, it's almost harder when you're anchored to this plastic doll and the history of this doll, and you have to create something. I remember going to see Barbie and just being, wow, she really did this. And Noah Baumbach, of her writing partner as well. But I was just like, wow, I didn't like the movie in certain parts, but I was like, but wow, this is such a creation, but it's within the box that she had to work in. And I just thought it was brilliant. Like, she was constrained by, I don't know, Mattel or whomever. But then on top of that, she created this thing out of whole cloth. And it blew me away in that aspect. But it was messy and crazy, and it didn't always hold together. But still, it was just the fact that level of creation was still possible was kind of cool to me.
Well, I think it's way more subversive than I had ever anticipated, for sure.
Yeah, and there is some debate whether, like, they were pushing to have it nominated in original screenplay, because they're saying that
a doll isn't
these characters were invented, and Barbie didn't inherently have characters.
A story, yeah.
Before.
And I think it should have been an original, but I guess there are these rules that say, like, if you're making it from, like, previous existing IP, then, like, it's automatically adapted, which I understand that, like, from, I think, like, you're putting constraints and awards around creative expression. I guess that's what you do. Like, you have to say these are, like, wholly original characters.
I thought the whole debate about that.
Say that in this case.
I thought the whole debate about that was settled with Battleship, starring Rihanna back in the day, based on the board game.
Because it wasn't nominated.
It was not nominated for either category, and which overlooked by the Academy. A terrific film based on a board game. If you have a chance, check it out.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, I think there's a Skarsgård in it too. One of the brothers.
Wow. I'm gonna look it up.
I do think, though, with Barbie, there's no thing that's had more stories already told about it than anything else in the whole world. I mean, my Barbie, my friend got for Christmas one year her ski hill, right? So it was the ski hill, but into the ski hill was built this like A-frame lodge underneath the hill. So basically, you could ski down to the bottom and just go right inside your home, and many a story.
Possibly throw Ken off the roof as well.
We'll give you many things to Ken. Yeah.
Oh wow! I wonder if that's going to be like one of those Oscar skits that they do. Just combine both movies.
That would be so good.
I think it should win for costume and set design. Barbie should definitely win those. I think. There's just they might go with Oppenheimer because black and white prestige. But honestly, do you know that they ran out of pink paint? Ran out during the COVID because they bought all of it, and there was no more pink paint to be had in North America because Barbie got it all.
Wow.
But Poor Things for set design though is like they built Portugal in a soundstage. So I mean, like
I think Poor Things costuming could also be like a strong contender, just because the costuming is pretty unreal. I think that's what you would enjoy about it most, Stephen, is like the costuming is quite epic. Again, a lot of puff sleeves that are really structured, but still somehow perfect. I don't know how to explain it any better to you than that, but I think you will enjoy it. Oh, and just like the most beautiful bloomers. Anyway,
beautiful bloomers.
I have a question.
Beautiful bloomers.
Beautiful bloomers.
But I have a question about the Barbie pink.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what do people buy Barbie pink, like regular people buy Barbie pink paint for? Like, Greta Gerwig probably saved a lot of home renos by buying out the Barbie pink. from everywhere during COVID.
I do like the idea of people like going to the store and being like, what do you mean you're out of pink?
Yeah, I know. Like what? I needed to redo my office.
I just like the idea of somehow them like deciding like, oh, well, flamingos eat a lot of shrimp and that's how they turn pink. How will we solve this paint crisis? I know. Let's kill flamingos and let's just bleach the pink from their feathers.
Oh
like,
my, wow.
That's what we're going to do.
That's
So
Disney
dark.
villain
Yeah,
dark right
fine.
there.
That's
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, you just went Cruella on it.
I went full Cruella. It's
That's like Spy Kids level villainy. I love it.
it's the place I'm at this week. I'm so sorry. But okay, so and speaking of like villains, Killers of the Flower Moon, again, I did not see it. The only thing I want to see is like the 20 minutes of Lily Gladstone footage because I love
so
her so
good
much.
though. I mean, if she doesn't win, it's a crime. I'm not saying that it's not a strong category and all that, but she is the only real reason to see this film for sure. And the fact that you can tell that they left Leonardo DiCaprio out of being nominated, like.
Well, didn't he get his pity award for Revenant or whatever? So he's off the charts for a little bit, right? Like,
I mean, I think we do have to give this movie credit for, like, I can't remember which article I was reading, but they're saying like the depictions of whiteness in this year's movies vary, and like the one that is kind of the only one that is taking a critical look at whiteness and directed by a white person is Killers of the Flower Moon. And so I think we do have to give Scorsese some credit for that. I found surprising, like, you know, like he's a master director and I recognize that and all. But like I found some of the parts of the movie were surprisingly felt corny to me, like the screen wipes and like the music and stuff like that. It just didn't, it kind of took away from the movie because I felt the style was a bit, I don't know, corny. I don't know. Lisa, did you?
Oh my God. I thought you said horny. And I was I was like, this is an unreal take. I've not heard that about
Sorry,
this film
I
at all.
meant corny.
Okay, corny.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
But I don't know if it was because it was a Western.
well, that's what I was going to say. In some ways, there was almost like a template of a Western movie that people make, but that the issues that were being explored in this story were, you know, really taking to task the Western, like showing it for the awfulness that it was. But yeah, there were some, in some ways I'm like, I can't believe that was 3.5 hours because I can't really remember what was going on in 3.5 hours. I mean, I don't want to, yeah, you're right. I don't want to like completely hate it because I really love Lily Gladstone's performance. I think that there are ways that it could have been quite different of a story if they'd focused more on the Indigenous people as opposed to the sort of subplots around these awful men, but maybe showcasing how awful they were was helpful. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it feels like Leonardo DiCaprio, like he didn't get nominated for this role, and it feels like to me when I was watching it that he's distracting because he's such a caricature through this whole movie, and you're just thinking, oh, there's Leo doing Leo in a Scorsese movie, like it's too much.
And I felt like that toward the end, I mean, I'm sorry you guys haven't seen it, but I felt toward the end there was some sort of like, maybe we should be sympathetic to him because he really loved his wife and kids. Like, did you feel that?
That's an interesting question.
Do you mean like that weird serial killer thing that they do with like white men that kill their families and then they show a happy family picture like in the news?
Exactly.
The media always does this, and they make it look like, you know, man kills entire family and it's a smiling Christmas picture of the family, and you're like, well, that's
But
weird.
he was also this. Yeah.
Exactly. He was also a
they
loving
made him
dad
a
up until the
noble.
time he killed all the kids. Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a weird
yeah.
media game that they tend to do for white dads more so that they use a mugshot for anybody of color, right? So
Yeah.
It just felt like when I looked up the real, like it's a true story. So I did look up what Leo's, like who he played and what happened to that guy. And he just sounds like a goddamn nightmare, like the worst human being ever. Like, and in the movie, there was a bit of a, gee, if circumstances had been different, maybe he just could have loved his wife and had a great family, but things didn't turn out that way. No, he was an awful person. it would have turned out this
Yeah.
way, even without all the other circumstances.
Yeah.
I know that there's been a lot of pushback. Like Devery Jacobs has like criticized the film, and like a lot of other folks have criticized the film. I know that Scorsese got ahead of some of it by having Indigenous community consultants like as part of the like revising the screenplay and whatnot. I know that when I told my grandma that this was being made into a film because she had just read the book, she was like, are you sure? And I said, yeah. She's like, do you think that they're gonna like hire Indigenous people like to make it a little bit of a different story? Because she was like, otherwise this is just gonna be a movie that's just all about like white supremacist point of view and like settler privilege. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've heard that it might go differently. We'll see. And from everything I've heard of it, I think that they tried, but maybe didn't fully succeed. You know what I mean? Because of that desire to redeem like Leonardo's character in some small way. And so, but again, I understand I haven't seen it. So who am I I don't get to comment on it, but I have certainly read a lot of discourse around it.
Yeah, it's just those like little touches that like Lisa, you're right. Like it is when you know the true story of it, it is questionable, like why his character is redeemed at the end of the story and why he's kind of let off the hook.
Yeah.
It was like a really interesting story, an important story from history to bring to the forefront to decide to make a movie about. And Lily Gladstone's amazing. And I think that I hope that she wins Best Actress.
Yeah, I do
but
too.
Yeah, I can see why Leo didn't get nominated.
I like the category because you've got the wild card. They just throw Annette Bening in again this year. Like, I love how they do that. Every couple of years,
Yeah.
they just toss it in. Annette Bening made a movie, let's nominate her. And she gets nominated every time she makes a movie. And I think it's
I'm
fun.
okay with that.
I know,
I'm okay
I like
with
it.
that.
Yeah.
And I think she just is like, great. Am I going to go this year?
Yeah,
I don't know. Doesn't matter. But
Same with Jodie Foster. It was almost as if they knew if they put them both in, we're guaranteed a couple of nominations. So we'll put them both in together.
Yeah. I think that's great that Annette Bening makes a movie. It's going to get an Oscar nom. Good for her. Like that old meme of the good for her from Arrested Development. Yes, I raised my martini.
We watched Naiad, and it's just like their performances like together are what like elevates that movie and makes it sparkle. Like they've just got such great chemistry, and they're both like so amazing at their craft. It's just
They make it look easy
to watch that movie. Yeah.
Speaking of chemistry,
I will
in True Detective, right? This new season that Jodie Foster did with the former WWE kickboxing her actor her partner in this. That is some chemistry. That is amazing. And she should be nominated for an Oscar for that TV show. That's what I think we should talk about. Because she's really good in that. And
guys...
I haven't liked True Detective since season 1. And I didn't even really like season 1 that much. And I think this was the best season of them all because it was different.
Kelly
I'm just going to
Reese
sidetrack.
plays
Kelly
the-
Reese. Yeah. She was amazing
Plays
in
the trooper.
that. And she's only ever done one other thing as an actor.
Oh, wow. I don't think I've ever seen a season of True Detective, actually. So
You can start with the season. You don't need to
This
watch
season?
the
I
other
don't
ones.
need
Oh,
Yeah,
I really
it's
like season
self-contained.
1
They're
and
all
season
separate.
3. I just didn't like season 2.
Okay. The one movie I have not seen that this conversation has made me sort of want to see is The Holdovers and Davine Joy Randolph, whom I've loved in everything I've ever seen her in. And I have loved every look she has worn at every award show that she's been at so far. That woman can wear a sculpted dress like nobody else. Like I love every single thing that she has put on. And I just enjoy her in so many things. So it has kind of made me, even though I'm like a little bit over Payne, the director and screenwriter, it kind of has made me want to watch the movie now.
Yeah, it's just it's a good movie, and it's like
It's solid. It's a solid
easy
movie.
to watch.
Yeah, easy to watch. I feel like I didn't get all the info, but I thought it was going to be like because I heard some people saying, "Oh, I'm going to wait till Christmas. It'll be a cozy film." It is so sad. I'm just throwing that out there right now. It is not a warm and cozy, I'll put on a 70s sweater type idea. It is really hard. It's a really, really, it's a good movie, but it's a really hard truth movie.
And the acting throughout it is amazing. Like Paul Giamatti is amazing in it. The Dominique Sessa, who plays the lead, the student, the boy.
Yeah, amazing.
It's his first ever acting role.
I really enjoy watching him at award shows and just seeing his sour face. He just doesn't want to be there. And I'm like, that's fun. Like every time they pan to him at the BAFTAs, he was like, I really would rather be anywhere else than here right now. And
are you talking about Paul Giamatti?
No, I'm talking about the Cessna.
Oh, Dominic Sessa.
Yeah. And he just looks like he would rather be he'd rather be having dental work. And it's amazing.
Well, apparently they did a casting call from around the world and didn't find anybody, and decided then to just go to boarding schools with like acting departments and audition people from there, and that's how they discovered him. And it's his first on-screen role.
Yeah,
that's
you
cool.
would never know that. I just feel like I just wanted to be prepared, because after I felt like so sad. I just felt like
okay.
Yeah. It is
I
a little
won't go
glum.
into it this week. I won't go into it this week then. I will.
No. Stay away. Yeah. Stay away. But I mean, not entirely, but just for the week you're not feeling great. Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. I you know what? Good advice. Good note taken. We're getting near the end of our episode, and I got to say, so what is your pick? Like, it doesn't have to be the thing that you think is going to win, but your personal pick for the movie that won your heart this year. Your own Oscars, guys.
That's a tough question.
Well, I loved Past Lives. For me, like, I feel like that movie has really stayed with me since we watched it, and I want to watch it again when I, like in the future. It's a definitely on the rewatch list, and I felt it was like strong all around. Like the screenplay was really strong, the acting performances are great, the directing was great, the cinematography was amazing. Like for me, like it was all around what I'd consider the best movie.
Does it have to be a movie that's been nominated this year, or could it be a movie you saw that just
could
really
it be Tar?
Yeah.
I mean, I was going for a film that you saw in the Oscar year, just to. I
mean, it is a movie I saw this year, but I don't believe it got any nominations. And I needed a week to get over this movie, and it's All of Us Strangers. And it took me.
But that was in the Oscar conversation, and people were upset that it got rejected.
I mean, it beat me up. It's such a slogging movie.
Can you give a little summary?
It's about a time shift between it's a middle-aged gay man. Oh, I wonder why I liked that movie then. Middle-aged gay man who's looking back on his life because his parents died at a particular point, and he's sort of going back in time to his family home, seeing his parents. And it's also it's strange because his parents are Billy Elliot and the Queen from The Crown, like seeing these British actors. You're like, oh, his dad's Billy Elliot and his mom's is Queen Elizabeth. Okay, cool. Claire Foy from season 1. And then he's Hot Priest from Dirtbag.
Fleabag.
Fleabag. Yeah. And then there's the guy from Normal People, like the hot boy from Normal People. And you're just
Paul Mescal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Paul Mescal's his neighbor, and he starts having an affair with his very, very handsome next door neighbor, while he's also working through all the things that he wanted to maybe tell his parents. It just hits you like a ton, at least it hit me like a ton of bricks. And that's a movie I still am processing. And I made the mistake of just saying, oh, I'm going to see it without doing any work and looking into it, so that when I was sitting there watching, I was like, oh, this was a bad idea. I'm emotionally drained for the rest of the month. I got to take January off kind of situation. So that for me, that was a movie that really got me.
I've heard that. Yeah. I really want to see it. I'm very excited to see it. And there was definitely lots of conversation about how it should have been nominated.
Yeah.
Lisa, what about you?
Oh, this is one of the things I was thinking about this list of 10 and why I like a project. I like limits and I like having to work within them. So that's why I like Best Picture nominees. And they've definitely over the years, since they added, 5 more to the category, it's made it much more interesting. But, like movies that it's hard between Barbies, Past Lives, and Anatomy of a Fall. Are they all directed by women? Yes. Was I just thinking about that? Not until I said it out loud. But I just think all 3 of those movies made me see things differently. And I think it's easy just to say Past Lives is a movie about lost love or something, that didn't happen or something like that. But I think in lots of ways, it's the most representational story of what so many families, so many people have dealt with, having to leave your culture behind and move to another country and start over again. And who were you before and who are you now and what sort of compromises do you make? And I just think with the planet being the way it is and people moving and being so many different places, for better, for worse, I just think it's a story that's much more representational of all who we all are than anything else.
Yeah, it's Past Lives for me as well. Ultimately, like it devastated me, and I really also appreciated how it wasn't interested in like any kind of like archetypes of like villains or like heroes, or it was just like allowing some people to be like human and real and a little bit complicated and showing us just like the ways that we can sort of like try and always be like reckoning with like who we are versus who we thought we would become, and like spending time in that in between. And it's also just ridiculously romantic on so many levels. 'Cause like, sometimes like people who mean a lot to you will mean a lot to you for your entire life. And it doesn't cheapen that to know that that's not enough in the present moment. But you're just like grateful for this like sort of transformational thing that has carried you through and will always be there. And I just love that. I really love this movie, and I thought it was so smartly done and had so much heart. And I really appreciated, I think, the extent to which Celine Song put herself into the film. And I think that's why it resonates so deeply with so many people, is because like it's a little bit informed by her own story.
Well, and I am still marveling at the fact that we had such an epic debate over the ending of the movie amongst the 3 of us, having
that's because I have
ideas
problems
of what happened at the end to the characters.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, like I mean, yeah.
You never know though.
I mean,
it could pull out. Remember, like who saw Coda winning Best Picture a few years ago? I did not. I did not see that coming. So you never know what's going to happen.
But if we were betting folks, if we were bellying up to the betting table,
Oppenheimer.
I mean, I'm putting my money down on Oppenheimer. If Baby needs a new pair of shoes, I'm putting all my chips down on Oppenheimer.
Yes. I agree with you on that.
Every year, a friend of mine does an Oscar pool, and I enter every year, and I just always bet only with I always choose only with my heart. Oh, and I'm always so wrong. I'm like, I come in near the end every single year, and I keep voting the way that I want instead of the way that I know it will go. I'm just that, like, in those moments, I'm like willfully, defiantly a loser. And I don't know, I cling to it every year.
You know what I've often thought about, like when you get that question, like
defiantly a loser,
won the lottery. I've always of course, trips and blah, blah, blah. But if I won a really big lottery, one of the things I've always wanted to do was start my own prize. But like not specifically for like literature or movie, just the Lisa Prize. And it's anything that anything that blew my mind this year. And,
Oh, wow.
and
That would be
everything's
cool.
in contention. You know,
I love
everything, right? I mean,
I love it.
And so I would love to be able, like what you're saying, like voting with your heart, just, you know,
Yeah.
like winning some giant lottery, and every year you've got this $1 million to play with that is this, you know, what blew my mind award this year. I would love to be able to do that.
And it's just like decided by Lisa and Lisa only.
Yeah, it's my award.
One year it's like this incredible dog rescue, and the next year it's like this
Tar.
person who successfully ranked every single Bravo Housewives franchise in a meaningful way that like spoke to your soul.
Wow.
It's a
love
wild
it.
card for sure, right? Like you don't know, and that will be the fun of this prize.
And if we're
granola
lucky,
recipe.
it will be live streamed on
recipe,
Netflix. It'll be live streamed on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And we
Oh
can
my
all tune
God,
in.
the Lisa Awards coming to you live from Netflix.
Yes.
Housewives,
beautiful.
rescue dogs, cooks, chefs, metal artists. You don't know who's coming. You don't
And we
know.
we could also alter how we open the show with "It's the Lisa Awards."
That's right, yes.
You've already got your theme song.
I can get someone different to do it every year. Yeah.
Every year. I'm
Yep.
gonna put my contender right here is La 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 Lisa Awards. That's my
Wow, you just
tribute
did
right
that.
now. Yeah, I just
Yep.
wow,
Thank
I
you.
just did that. Honestly, that's the Oscars. Wow, you just did that.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
Well, wow, we just did this, friends. We are not ending our episode this week on anything we'd like to recommend, and that's fine because we've
Yeah.
just talked about a lot of movies that we have all spoke passionately about.
We've been very busy.
Uh,
Yeah.
And some movies that we just have comments on that we've not seen. And you know what? I love to give you as informed opinions as uninformed opinions.
That's what we give you here at Pop This.
That's what we do here. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're passionate either way,
Pop
baked.
this.
Half baked or full baked. You never know what's coming.
but we'll serve it with style. I think that's
That's
the
right,
important
yeah.
part.
Absolutely. Real panache coming at you live from Pop This. So thank you so much, Stephen. You are co-hosting the VIFF Oscar party,
I
viewing
am.
party. Tell us about where people can
I believe there are
find info about that.
I believe we're on a wait list situation now, but they can find out more if they
Oh
go
my
to
God, so no tickets.
I think there's some. They're opening some up at the end, kind of situation. I think, but it's
Ooh.
you can find
All
out
right.
more at VIFF.org, which is the Vancouver International Film Festival and Theater's website, and they have a little
Yep.
clicky for Oscar party, and it's I'm on there, so I'm one of the fine folks who's going to be talking during the commercial breaks, so that you don't have to watch the commercials. Which is
Amazing.
because there are no Oscar commercials. It's not like the Super Bowl where you get fun stuff. And plus, we're in Canada, we wouldn't get the good ones anyway. But
No.
Oscar commercials are
Exactly.
just, it's honestly like, local commercials from your area. And it'll just be like, the local carpet
Yeah.
guy and the used car salesman and then a bunch of TELUS ads or something. So why not listen to me? I'm much more entertaining than any TELUS ad you'll ever see is my way of looking at it.
Absolutely.
Plus, we in real time
absolutely.
look up what they're wearing and who the designers are and talk about it.
Ooh.
Yay!
You should
So
stream that.
fun.
I would tune into that.
Yeah, Viv.
I
why
should
aren't you
stream it on
live
Netflix.
live streaming your hosted awards on Netflix.
I will
there
totally
you go.
do the Lisa Awards red carpet, though. That'll be fun.
Thank you.
Although,
Look, we're
red
really
might be too
building
strong a
some-
color for you, with knowing your palette and your choices, Lisa, we might have to have like a beige or an ecru carpet just to keep it in line with the Lisa.
A crew.
Love it.
Wow.
Love that. Yes.
Yeah.
I think a striped carpet for Lisa.
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
she
like a
loves
Provençal
a
stripe. There you
The
go.
walking the
Yes.
striped carpet. Oh my God. Oh my
Lisa.
God. Okay, I'll go get another lottery ticket. All right.
Great. The
Scratch
Lisa
and win
Awards
for
are
us
happening.
all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You can hang out with us on Insta, Twitter, Facebook. You could rate and review us 5 stars.
And thank you, Andrea Gin, who is our audio expert, as we've been discussing, who, if any of us sound bad and make a bad note, she will be fixing this in post.
The audience will never know.
They'll never know.
you
So
imagine?
thank you
No one's
for
ever
hosting.
heard my real voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No idea how many
Everyone's like,
filters.
why aren't you British in real life?
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, everyone.
Enjoy the Oscars.
Thank you. Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.